As you know, Sibelius is the ideal tool for creating paper-based music. So there will be a time when, particularly as a teacher, you want to create worksheets that you can print out, give to the pupils and ask them to do specific tasks. Well, to create your own worksheet is actually quite a complicated process, and we will cover all of the techniques involved in that in a separate video. However, Sibelius itself comes pre-installed with literally hundreds of pre-existing worksheets. So you may find that you don't actually need to create your own. Let's show you where they are. I'm going to start off, I'm going to open any new score, it doesn't really matter what it is, because I'm not actually going to use it. And we're going to go to the File tab, which takes us backstage, and down here there's a category called Teaching. Click on there, it opens up my worksheet options. Now I'm going to have a look at the Worksheet Creator first of all. And it asks you first question, what do you want to create? Teaching and learning materials or a template? Now let's have a quick look at the templates first of all. Click Next. To create a blank manuscript in Sibelius is actually a bit of a pain because of all the things that Sibelius automatically puts in there that you have to then hide or remove or whatever. So instead of asking you to go and do all that yourself, they're there for you, either 12 stave or 8 stave. There are various other types of templates here that you could use. These are basically blank sheets that you can then either write on, or you can open them up in Sibelius and put notation on them yourself from there. There's also things like a weekly practice record that you could give to your pupils. There's all sorts of things in here, and you can decide if you want them portrait or landscape. There's also, incidentally, a couple of games. Let's have a look at Drag'em. The way Drag'em works, in fact I'll show you how Drag'em works. Let me just click Finish now. And there's Drag'em. And the way it works is, you would name, let's say I would change that X there. I would make that, let's say, crochet. Let's say I make this one semiquaver and line it up underneath. One more here. Let's do a fermata. Now, you would then obviously go through the rest of the sheet and put those on there. You would then show this on an interactive whiteboard, probably using the Control U option to make it full screen. And the pupil's task is to come up to the whiteboard and drag the appropriate symbols to the appropriate boxes. So for example, they would grab the crotchet and drag that there. Just noticed there isn't actually a semiquaver there, but that's maybe one that you would maybe double check that before you create it. But you can grab the fermata and put it there. It doesn't tell you if you're right or wrong, that's your job as a teacher. But it gives you something, another reactivity that you can use Sibelius for with the classroom. Let me come back out of full screen. So that lets you have a quick look at some of the templates. Let's have a look at some of the other things you can do. Teaching and learning materials. There are over 1700 worksheets, etc. already installed in Sibelius. And what this wizard will do is narrow that 1700 down based on your requirements. Now at the moment you can tell it to add various things to the worksheet, so you can add today's date, you can add a space for their name and class, and if there's an answer sheet for it as well, what you want to put on there. I'm not going to untick any of these, I'm just going to leave them all as they are and click Next. Type of material, you can use it for any size, or you can specify materials for individuals, small groups, or groups of any size. I'm going to keep that as any just now to give me the widest possible range. How to use can be completed on paper, at the computer, or by performing. Any combination of these. Again, I'm just going to leave it there. If you know specifically what worksheet you're looking for, you can enter the file name there, and it'll find it from there. I'm just going to click next though, just to show you how it works. Sibelius will now narrow down the 1700 worksheets based on the requirements you've set, and depending on the speed of the machine that you're using, this may take a wee while, so a wee bit of patience may be required. So once it's found all the materials, you can see there are categories over here. The numbers at the end mean that there are, for example, in elements of music, there are 463 worksheets, and at the moment all of them meet the categories that we set because we didn't make any specific requirements, so we'll see them all. If, however, you had decided that you want to narrow this down, then this number here would change. So let's have a look at some of these. I'm going to go for writing and creating music. Click next. Let's have a look at composing. You can see that again, the categories there. There's now 50 in the composing category. Let's have a look at those. And there's our 50. Again, these are all subcategorized as well. Rhythm, melody, entire piece, yada yada yada. I'm going to go for a melody. Different ideas for composing a melody. Click next. Different ways you can compose a melody. One that we've all done, I suppose, is completing an 8-bar melody, and there's only one of those, so let's have a look at that. So, when you get to this point, it now gives you the name of it, the category that it's in, and a description of what it's asking you to do, along with what you've asked it to narrow it down by. You have the option of creating an answer sheet. Now for this one here, there isn't really an answer sheet that's going to be there, so I'm going to undo that just now. I'm going to click next. It gives me a thumbnail version of it so I can see what it's going to be like, and once I'm happy with it, I click finish, and it creates a worksheet for me. And you can see it's going to give us a start of a melody, and our task is to complete that out. Start a melody, complete it out. I don't think you would want to have all of these in a single worksheet. What you may want to do is just to delete the ones you don't want to use and keep the ones that you do, and then use those as your starting points. You'll notice there are 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 9, 8, 6, 8. There's all sorts of different starting points for you to work on. There are also different, some are major, some are minor. And of course it's a Sibelius file, so you can edit them to your heart's content. If you decide you don't like any of these, you can change them around to suit yourself. If I zoom in just for a second, you'll notice that there are bars rests in here, but they're greyed out because they're hidden. If I go to the View tab, you'll see the hidden objects is ticked. I'm going to untick that just now, and that is actually what would print. So that gives you an idea of how it works. So let me go back to the Worksheet Creator. Again, work my way through the wizard. Again, I'm not going to select any of the options, let it find all the materials for you. And let's have a look at some of these other categories. We've looked at elements of music. Actually, we haven't looked at it. We looked at writing and creating music, didn't we? There's elements of music as well. Notes and rests, key scales and key signatures. These are all worksheets, remember, mostly aimed at printing out, putting in front of the children. Go back. The selected repertoire, which is interesting because this is designed to be played at the piano. So the selected Bach repertoire, let's have a look at that for a second, and you can see there are all of these. Most of them are very famous Bach keyboard pieces, and all they are basically is, if I just pick one of them, let's pick the Minuet in G. Moving on, is going to give us the Minuet in G, which I can then print out, put on the piano, and ask people to play it. Or I could ask Sibelius to play it to let the people hear how it goes. But they're all there. Other selected repertoire, other piano repertoire, includes such titles as, if we go for Beethoven for example, Adagio from Sonatine in C, or Für Elise. If we go for Joplin, Scott Joplin, The Entertainer, Maple Leaf Rag, and a Ragtime Two-Step. They're all there. There's all sorts of Erik Satie, you can guess what that's going to be, probably. So Nobody number 1. purely to sit and put in front of the pupils to ask them what to play. There are all sorts of other repertoire in there. There are reference worksheets as well, chord libraries, vocal range, instrumental and vocal ranges, US and British music terms compared, it's quite interesting as well. There's all sorts of things in there, you can get the idea. So rather than spending another 20 minutes going through various different worksheets, I thought what I would do is show you this, which is a PDF file with various ones shown, so you can see the sort of things that you can ask you to do. This is second inversions of major and minor triads, and this is the question sheet, and there's the answer sheet. So if you do ask it to create an answer sheet, it will give you correct answers on there as well. There are things that you could just ask. This could be please take material, for example, name the instruments. There are poems that you can set music to in a variety of different styles. These are, again, the Sibelius files, but there's no music on them, it's just words. How to compose a bebop melody, various different suggestions for how to do that. African drumming, so you want to explain where different styles of music come from. There's a map of Africa. Everybody's favourite, circle of fifths. That should be on every classroom wall as far as I'm concerned. I've mentioned already the repertoire. There's Debussy's Arabesque. Songs in different languages, 14 different world languages. There's a Mexican one. 2-bar question and answer melodies. Things you can just print out and put in your wall. There's a picture of a French horn, why not? Musical maths. These are all in there. Different types of scales. So that gives us a rough idea of the sort of things that are already in the Worksheet Creator. I'm just going to cancel this just now. I'm going to go back to the File tab, go to the Teaching, and look at these other two boxes here. Basically, you can guess how these are going to work. The Add Worksheet, if you create a worksheet yourself, you can add it to the Worksheet Creator, and you can decide what category it's going to into, and you can add all the information that goes along with that. Why you'd want to do that when you can just save it as a separate file, I'm really not entirely sure, but the option's there for you. And if you want to edit a worksheet that's already existing, you can do this one as well. To be honest, these two options are used very rarely because you'll use a Worksheet Creator to specify what worksheets you want to use. You would then save them as a separate file so you get easy access to them. So that gives you a look at the Worksheet Creator. Now if you want to create your own worksheet once you've had a look through these, that's fine, but bear in mind that there are some quite advanced, particularly layout features that you want to be aware of, and we'll look at those in a separate video. But before you do that, have a good look around the Worksheet Creator and see if there's stuff in there that you want to use.